You see, sometimes we walk through pain thinking it's a reflection of who we are. We carry it like shame. We carry it like failure. We think if I was better, I wouldn't be here. If I was stronger, I wouldn't feel like this. If I was more anointed, maybe I wouldn't be breaking. But what if I told you that what you're walking through isn't a reflection of your weakness? It's a confirmation of your calling. Because preparation doesn't always look like praise. Sometimes it looks like pain. And if you don't understand the difference, you'll start rejecting what was sent to shape you. I know it doesn't feel like it now, but the tears you cried weren't wasted. That silence, that loneliness, that ache you feel in your chest, it wasn't random. It was divine. Because when God is preparing you, He doesn't just upgrade your surroundings. He upgrades your spirit. He stretches your soul. And stretching hurts. Growth hurts. Breaking hurts. But birthing always starts with labor. And the labor is messy. It's exhausting. It doesn't make sense while you're in it, but there's something coming from it. There's strength being built in it. There's purpose being pushed through it. See, sometimes we think if we're in pain, then God must be far from us. We look at our lives, we look at our mistakes, and we start building a case against ourselves. We say, maybe I'm hurting because I failed. Maybe I'm here because I missed it. But what if God's greatest work in you is happening in the wilderness? What if the season you're trying to escape is the one God is using to make you unstoppable? What if the thing you're trying to fast forward through is the very thing that's forging your foundation? I know it doesn't feel holy when you're crying in the dark, asking God to take it away. It doesn't feel anointed when you're watching everything you love slip through your fingers. But pain has a way of pulling out a power in you that comfort never could. There are parts of you that only pain could touch. Places in you that only heartbreak could expose. And not because God wanted to punish you, but because He's preparing you for a place where the weight of your assignment will require a strength you don't even know you have yet. We ask God for elevation, for platforms, for healing, for influence. And He says yes, but His yes doesn't always look like open doors and applause. Sometimes His yes looks like isolation. Sometimes His yes looks like betrayal. Sometimes His yes looks like being stripped down until the only thing left is you and Him. Because God is not just interested in giving you the blessing. He wants to make sure the blessing doesn't break you. And that means He has to build something in you first. A strength, a faith, a resilience, a humility, a fire that the world didn't give and the world can't take away. There are some rooms you're going to walk into that will require a healed version of you. There are some people you're going to reach that will need you to have walked through what you're crying about right now. There's a strength in your future that is being carved out of the pain in your present. And I know that sounds unfair. I know it sounds like too much, but if you only knew the level of glory God is setting you up for, you would understand why this level of pain had to come first. We don't like pain. We pray it away, we bind it, we rebuke it, but pain is often the invitation to your next level. It's the evidence that something is shifting. When the enemy sees who you're becoming, he sends distractions, he sends attacks, and sometimes those attacks feel like personal failure, but they're actually spiritual indicators. If all hell is breaking loose in your life, it might be because heaven is backing you up for what's next. Don't confuse spiritual warfare with spiritual abandonment. God didn't leave you. He's preparing you. The version of you that is going to change lives cannot be birthed in comfort. She comes through fire. She comes through tears. She comes through nights you don't talk about. And every single one of those nights matter. Every unanswered prayer, every lonely hour, every unanswered call, God is using it. He's teaching you how to stand on His word when nothing else makes sense. He's teaching you how to hear His voice when all you want is noise to distract you. He's not punishing you. He's pulling something out of you, something sacred, something powerful, something eternal. And yes, I know it hurts. I know you want to run. I know you want to go back to what was familiar, even if it wasn't good for you. But part of preparation is learning to stay in the stretch, learning to trust God when you don't trust what's happening, learning to believe in his plan when you don't like his process. This is where faith becomes more than words. This is where it becomes a lifestyle, because pain will either make you bitter or it will make you built. And you get to choose. When you look back on this season, you're going to realize that it wasn't the end of you, it was the making of you. You're going to thank God for not giving you what you thought you needed. You're going to praise him for the doors that closed, for the people who walked away, for the things that didn't work out. Because what you didn't see then was how God was removing what couldn't carry you into your next. He was pruning you, refining you, preparing you. You asked God to take you higher. He said yes, but higher places have heavier wind. And if your roots aren't deep, you'll fall when the pressure comes. So he said, before I elevate you, let me anchor you. Before I bless you, let me build you. Before I release you, let me refine you. That's what this pain is doing. It's anchoring, it's building, it's refining. Because where you're going, you can't afford to be weak in places that look strong. You can't afford to perform strength. You need to live it. And the thing about preparation is it's never pretty. It's rarely celebrated. It's the hidden work, the quiet yes, the lonely obedience. It's the part nobody claps for, but it's the most important part. It's where character is formed. It's where faith is solidified. It's where you stop depending on people's approval and start leaning into God's purpose. And that shift doesn't happen in a moment. It happens in the stretch, in the resistance, in the pressure. So don't resist it. Don't rush it. Let it do what it came to do. There's a version of you on the other side of this pain that will blow your mind. She's bold, she's whole, she's healed, she's powerful, but she doesn't come without a cost. You've got to fight for her. You've got to pray for her. You've got to survive for her. And that means seeing this pain not as an enemy, but as an assignment. Not as something meant to destroy you, but as something meant to develop you. You're not in trouble, you're in training. And the pain is proof that the process is working. There were moments you thought you lost it all, but what you didn't realize was that what you lost wasn't meant to last. It was seasonal, it was situational, it was strategic, and God allowed it because he saw what you couldn't. He saw the weight you were carrying. He saw the broken pieces you were hiding. He saw the places you were surviving in when he created you to thrive. And so he stripped it, he exposed it, he allowed the pain not to punish you, but to make space for the healing, for the freedom, for the strength you're going to need where he's taking you. You've got to stop seeing pain as a sentence and start seeing it as a classroom. Every tear is a teacher. Every betrayal is a lesson. Every loss is a seed, and those seeds will bloom if you don't give up in the dirt. If you don't walk away in the burial, because it looks like burial, but it's actually planting. It looks like death, but it's actually destiny. That pressure you feel is not crushing you. It's birthing you. It's shaping you. It's transforming you into the kind of woman who can carry the weight of glory. I know you're tired. I know you're questioning everything, but don't you dare let this pain lie to you. Don't you dare let it convince you that you're not worthy, that you're not chosen, that you're not equipped, because God didn't bring you this far to leave you. He didn't invest this much in you to abandon the project. He's still working, still molding, still preparing, and this pain is a part of the process. When God prepares you, he doesn't just prepare your gift. He prepares your heart. He prepares your posture. He prepares your mindset, because he knows that it's not enough to have talent. You need trust. You need obedience. You need endurance, and those things aren't built in comfort. They're built in the moments nobody sees, in the prayers nobody hears, in the decisions nobody. So if it feels like you're in the fire, it's because you are. scar. But fire doesn't just destroy. Fire purifies. Fire reveals what's real. Fire burns off what can't stay. And if God allowed the fire, it's because he's trying to bring something real out of you, something holy, something strong, something unshakable. You may not see it yet, but there's gold in you. And this pain is pulling it to the surface. Keep walking through it. Keep trusting in it, because this pain isn't punishment. It's preparation. There comes a point in your life when you stop hiding your wounds and start seeing them for what they are. Stories of survival, not stains of shame, not marks of failure, but sacred evidence that you went through hell and made it back. You didn't just survive what tried to destroy you. You came out with a testimony. But see, the enemy wants you to stay silent about those scars. He wants you to cover them, to tuck them away under layers of perfection, pretending like you haven't been through anything, pretending like you've never cried yourself to sleep, like you've never questioned your worth, like you've never fallen so hard you didn't know if you'd ever get back up again. But God didn't preserve you through all that so you could live in hiding. He didn't bring you through the fire so you could pretend like you never got burned. No, those scars are holy. They are proof. They are power, because somebody somewhere is waiting to see if it's possible to come out on the other side of what they're drowning in. And when they see your scars, not your performance, not your perfection, but your real, raw, unedited scars, they'll know it's possible. We live in a world that rewards polish but runs from pain. Everybody's posting their highlight reels, their filtered smiles, their curated joy, while silently breaking underneath the weight of pretending. And you start believing you're the only one bleeding, the only one who made a mistake, the only one who fell apart. But let me tell you something. Everyone you admire has scars. The strongest people carry the deepest wounds. The most powerful women have known the most painful nights, and they didn't become powerful by pretending they weren't hurt. They became powerful by surviving the hurt, by learning from it, by letting it mold them, shape them, break them open so that something greater could come through. You see, shame tells you to hide. Shame tells you to be quiet. It tells you to wear a mask, to play the role, to keep it together no matter what. But healing doesn't happen in the dark. Freedom doesn't come from faking it. It comes from facing it, from saying, yes, I was broken. Yes, I messed up. Yes, I lost myself. But look at me now. I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I'm still believing. And that makes me more than a survivor. It makes me a warrior, a witness, a walking miracle. The scars you carry aren't evidence of where you failed. They're reminders of where you fought. They are the chapters of your story that prove how far you've come. That heartbreak that nearly shattered you, you're still standing. That betrayal that cut you to your core, you learned to trust again. That loss that left you empty, you found a way to keep living. And every time you tried again, every time you showed up when it hurt, every time you chose faith over fear, you added another layer to your survival, another chapter to your redemption, another reason to hold your head high. But here's the part we don't always talk about. Sometimes we're ashamed of how long the healing takes. We think we should be over it by now, that somehow our pain has an expiration date. But healing doesn't run on a schedule. It runs on surrender. And sometimes the scar is there to remind you that even though it still aches sometimes, even though it still tugs at your heart in quiet moments, you made it. That wound didn't win. That storm didn't take you out. That pit didn't become your grave. It became your ground, your place of transformation. We don't talk enough about how long the in-between feels. The time between the breaking and the breakthrough, the wilderness season where you're no longer who you were, but not yet who you're becoming, where the wound is healing but the scar is still tender. That's where the enemy tries to get in. That's where he whispers lies about your worth, about your value, about your future. That's where he wants you to confuse your scars for signs of disqualification. But baby, if you only knew that the scar is the evidence you've been marked by grace. That you didn't come out of that battle empty. You came out equipped. You came out with wisdom, with empathy, with depth, with a fire. Because when you've really been through something, when you've cried those deep, gut-wrenching tears, when you've wrestled with God in the midnight hour, when you've lost everything you thought you needed and still found the courage to worship, you walk different. You talk different. You carry an authority that can't be taught. And that authority doesn't come from avoiding pain. It comes from surviving it. It comes from looking pain in the face and saying, you can't have me. You don't get to define me. I may have bled, but I'm still here. I may have fallen, but I got back up. And every time I got back up, I became stronger, wiser, more grounded in who I am and who God says I am. There's somebody who needs to hear that their scars don't disqualify them from being used by God. They qualify them. There's a mother who thinks she can't lead because of what she's been through. There's a woman who thinks her past makes her unworthy of purpose, but God doesn't call the flawless, He calls the available. And sometimes the most powerful ministry comes from the place of your greatest pain. That thing you're ashamed of, that thing you thought disqualified you, that might just be the platform God uses to reach somebody else, because scars tell stories and stories heal people. Stories build bridges. Stories give hope, and your story matters. Even the messy parts, especially the messy parts, because when people see that you've been through what they're going through and you made it, they start to believe that they can make it too, that they're not alone, that they're not too far gone, that grace still reaches. We weren't created to walk around like we've never been touched by life, like we've never faced disappointment or despair. No, we were created to be living testimonies, walking, breathing proof of what God can do with a broken heart, a failed plan, a shattered dream. We're not meant to be monuments of perfection. We're meant to be miracles of redemption. And miracles don't come without mess, without wounds, without stories that make people raise their eyebrows and wonder how in the world you're still standing. The world says hide your scars, but heaven says show them, because every scar is a sermon. Every scar is a reminder that healing is possible, that God restores, that grace covers, that love heals. And if you keep hiding your scars, you'll keep robbing someone else of the hope they desperately need, because your vulnerability might be the very thing that unlocks someone else's victory. Your honesty might be the lifeline someone grabs onto when they feel like giving up. And I get it. It's hard to be open when you've been judged before, when people have misunderstood your journey, when they've gossiped about your pain. But let me tell you, God didn't call you to be understood. He called you to be used. And sometimes being used means being seen. Not the version of you you think people will accept, but the real you. The you that's been through hell and came back wiser. The you that's still healing but still hoping. The you that's still learning but refuses to quit. You don't have to perform strength. You don't have to pretend you've got it all together. There is strength in your softness. There is power in your process. There is beauty in your becoming. And those scars, they're part of that beauty. They tell the truth. And in a world full of masks, the truth is what sets people free. And so don't you dare let shame keep you silent. Don't you dare let guilt make you small. You've been through too much. You've come too far. And your scars, they're not liabilities. They're credentials. They say, I've been where you are. I felt what you feel. I've walked through the valley and I found my way out. And if I can make it, so can you. If I can survive, so can you. If I can still believe, still worship, still show up, so can you. There's something sacred about surviving what was sent to kill you, about choosing joy when sorrow is easier, about loving again after betrayal, about dreaming again after disappointment. And the people who carry that kind of strength, that kind of light, that kind of wisdom, they don't look untouched. They look real. They look human. They look like you, like me, like all of us who dared to keep going when everything in us wanted to give up. Your scars are not the end of your story. They are the evidence that the story is still being written, that there is still more ahead, that healing is not a destination, it's a journey. And every day you choose to walk that journey, you're rewriting the narrative. You're taking the pen back. You're saying, yes, I've been hurt, but I am not my hurt. I am not what happened to me. I am not the mistake I made. I am not the failure they said I was. I am more. I am chosen. I am called. I am becoming. And the becoming doesn't erase the pain. It gives it purpose. It gives it perspective. It turns the wound into wisdom, the loss into legacy, the brokenness into beauty. And that kind of transformation, that kind of redemption, it's not quiet. It's not timid. It's loud, it's bold, it's fierce. It shows up in rooms with scars on display, head held high, heart wide open, declaring to the world that grace is real and healing is possible. You didn't go through what you went through just to go back to hiding. You didn't cry all those tears just to cover up the outcome. There is glory in your healing. There is purpose in your pain. And those scars, they carry power. They carry the evidence of your becoming. They carry the weight of your wisdom. They carry the story of your survival. They carry the fingerprints of a God who never left you, even when you didn't feel him, even when you didn't understand him, even when you doubted him. And maybe that's the most powerful part of all, that your scars don't just tell the story of what happened to you. They tell the story of who stayed with you through it, who held you when you were falling apart, who whispered truth to you when lies tried to take root, who fought for you when you didn't have the strength to fight for yourself. Those scars, they carry God's signature. They carry the imprint of grace. The reminder that even in your lowest moments, you were never alone. You were always being carried, always being covered, always being prepared for something greater. There's something about pain that shifts the atmosphere of your life. It interrupts your patterns. It shakes the foundations. It breaks what you thought was unbreakable. Pain does not ask for permission when it enters. It doesn't knock on the door and wait for you to be ready. It walks in unannounced and uninvited and flips the table of your expectations. And suddenly everything you thought you knew starts unraveling. Everything you thought was secure begins to feel fragile. That's how pain works. But just because pain is disruptive doesn't mean it's destructive, because in God's hands, even pain has purpose, even pain has strategy, even pain has assignment. We want to believe that purpose will be birthed in moments of peace, that it'll come when everything is calm and clear, but purpose rarely rises in comfort. Purpose is shaped in the fire, in the stretching, in the breaking. God does his best work in the wilderness. He creates masterpieces from what we consider mess. And so often the tool he uses to mold us into who we were always meant to become is pain, not because he delights in our suffering, but because he sees beyond our suffering. He sees what the pain will produce. He sees how it will strip away the layers that keep us small, how it will burn away the false identities we've wrapped ourselves in, and how it will push us to dig deeper, reach higher, believe bigger. Pain has a way of waking up the parts of you that comfort put to sleep. There is a version of you on the other side of this pain that is stronger, wiser, more compassionate, more courageous. But to meet that version of you, you've got to walk through the fire. You've got to stop running from the discomfort and start asking God what he's forming in you through it. Because he doesn't waste anything, not a tear, not a sleepless night, not a shattered dream. He collects it all, uses it all, shapes it all into the foundation of your calling. And sometimes the only way to discover what you're made of is to be broken open, to be stripped down to the core so the real you can rise. Not the version of you that performed for approval, not the version of you that played small to be accepted, but the version of you that was born for purpose, that was made to rise, that was called to shift the atmosphere. Pain carves out space for purpose. It clears the clutter. It dismantles the distractions. It teaches you what really matters. It shows you what you can live without, and it reveals what you can't afford to lose. It brings clarity, not the kind that comes from logic or strategy, but the kind that comes from soul survival. When you've been through enough, you stop pretending. You stop compromising. You stop saying yes to what drains you and start choosing what sustains you. And sometimes it takes pain to get you to that place, that sacred place where your yes to God is louder than your fear, louder than your shame, louder than your past. We think pain disqualifies us from purpose, but pain is often the prerequisite. It's the classroom where we learn the lessons we couldn't learn any other way. You learn compassion when your own heart has been shattered. You learn strength when you have no choice but to keep going. You learn endurance when the road is long and the finish line is blurry. And every lesson becomes a tool. Every wound becomes a seed. And when you let God water those seeds with His grace, they grow into something beautiful, something powerful, something eternal. You see, God doesn't just want you to survive the pain. He wants you to harvest it, to mine it for wisdom, to extract the oil, because there's an anointing that comes from going through and not giving up. There's a fire in your voice when you've cried tears of desperation. There's authority in your steps when you've walked through darkness and still chose the light. And that authority, that fire, that oil, it comes from the crushing, from the pressing, from the pain. Purpose without pain is theory. It's surface level. But purpose shaped by pain carries weight. It carries presence. It carries God's fingerprints because it's been tested. It's been tried. It's been refined in the furnace of affliction. And when you carry that kind of purpose, it's not about impressing people. It's about impacting lives. It's not about being seen. It's about being sent. Sent to the places where other people are hurting, where other people are breaking, where other people are looking for proof that God still heals, still restores, still redeems. There's someone right now who's walking through a season they never saw coming, a loss that knocked the wind out of them, a betrayal that cut deeper than they thought they could survive. And they're asking why. They're wondering what any of it means. And maybe they don't need answer right now. Maybe they just need to know that what they're feeling doesn't disqualify them from being used. That this pain, as gut-wrenching as it is, might be the very place where purpose is being planted. Purpose planted in pain doesn't look like perfection. It looks like showing up with trembling hands and a willing heart. It looks like taking the next step even when you don't see the path. It looks like trusting God with the pieces when you don't understand the picture. And the more you do that, the more you allow your pain to be shaped by His hands, the more you start to see glimpses of what He's building, not in spite of your pain, but because of it. He's building resilience. He's building depth. He's building legacy. Sometimes it takes pain to push you into the places you were too afraid to go. Sometimes it takes heartbreak to open your eyes to the toxic spaces you kept returning to. Sometimes it takes loss to teach you to hold on to what matters most. Pain is not the end. It's a catalyst, a divine interruption. And if you let it, it will birth something in you that comfort never could. You'll begin to speak with a new voice, walk with a new rhythm, see people differently, love deeper, serve harder, forgive faster. And it won't be because life got easier. It'll be because you stopped wasting your pain and started partnering with it. Started asking God not just to take it away, but to show you what He's doing through it. And that prayer, it changes everything. It shifts your posture from victim to vessel, from broken to becoming, from questioning why me to declaring use me. When you become a woman who refuses to let pain define her and instead allows pain to refine her, you become unstoppable. unshakable, not because you don't feel the weight, but because you've learned how to carry it with grace, with grit, with faith that refuses to die. That kind of faith only grows in the soil of sorrow. That kind of strength is forged in the fires of disappointment. And God will use it all, every tear, every no, every delay, every detour, every moment you thought it was over. He will use your lowest place as the launching pad for your highest calling. He will take the very thing that was meant to destroy you and make it the reason you rise. He doesn't just heal what hurts you. He transforms it. He gives it meaning. He makes it ministry. So if you're in the middle of something painful right now, don't count yourself out. Don't believe the lie that you have to have it all together to be used. God does his best work in the mess, in the dark, in the moments when all you can do is breathe and believe. That's where purpose is born, not in the spotlight, not in the applause, but in the stillness, in the struggle, in the sacred tension between who you were and who you're becoming. And when you come out of that place, and you will come out, you won't come out empty. You'll come out equipped, empowered, emboldened, because pain taught you how to fight. Pain taught you how to listen. Pain taught you how to pray, how to trust, how to love yourself enough to stay when it's hard and walk away when it's toxic. Pain taught you boundaries. Pain taught you vision. Pain stripped away what you didn't need so you could carry what God was always trying to give you. So many of us are waiting for the pain to end so we can begin. But what if the pain is the beginning? What if it's not a barrier, it's a bridge, a sacred invitation into the next level of your assignment, a holy push into deeper waters? You don't have to fear it. You don't have to run from it. You just have to trust that the same God who allowed it is the God who will use it. And he won't just use it to bless you. He'll use it to bless others through you, because your pain will not end with you. It will ripple. It will reach. It will break chains and build altars. It will touch lives you'll never even meet. That's how powerful pain becomes when you place it in the hands of God. It becomes legacy. It becomes light in the darkest places. It becomes the very thing that connects you to the people you're called to reach. So don't hide from your pain. Don't minimize it. Don't apologize for it. Let it teach you. Let it stretch you. Let it pull purpose out of you, because it will. If you let it, it will. And when it does, you'll look back not with regret, but with reverence. You'll see that it wasn't punishment, it was preparation. That it wasn't meant to break you, it was meant to build you. And everything that was hard, everything that was heavy, everything that hurt, it had a role to play. It had a reason. It had a purpose.